But presumably, this plan means a lot more work for pharmacists as well.
Yes, and that is something that we need to dive into and look at in terms of like what the specifications are. So at the moment, we're obviously struggling with workforce challenges, and depends in terms of like how much this is going to land on pharmacies who are currently under a lot of pressure.
But you do also, as a pharmacy, sell other products.
Yeah.
So the shop can make a profit. Would this help that, hinder that, make no difference?
Well, again, that OTC bit for an independent pharmacist is a very, very small portion of what they do. So 90% of what they do are NHS services, from dispensing
90%?
90%, and sometimes over 90%. I mean, in rural places, in places where deprivation is, you have more than 90% of your activities NHS funded. Because
some of the big chains, I suppose, are more like supermarkets with a pharmacy attached.
Yeah, so that you've got the nationals, like Boots and Lock supermarkets that have other activities. But independent pharmacies, essentially, all their activities, a vast majority part of their activities is NHS related.
And how many of them are there?
Well, at the moment, the number is shrinking pretty fast. So since 2015, we've seen about 800 pharmacies shutting their doors for good. And this year, we've anticipated, if the core funding, that pot I was talking about, where there's shortage of £1.1 billion, is not supported with an injection of liquidity, then we'll see more pharmacies closing the doors. In effect, about 600 to 700 closing by the end of this year, if nothing happens.
Right, so this plan comes in at a time when the independents are closing down anyway.
Yes. So we want the government to make sure that the support the government... And the supporters, the problem that we have, we don't know the details yet in terms of like what is expected of us as part of this service that we're asking to do.
How much? I mean, this is the big announcement of the day. And, Rishi's mother, of course, was a pharmacist, and he's gone back to Southampton where he grew up. And, all of that makes a very good story. How much consultation has there been with your group ahead of this announcement?
Well, there hasn't been a lot of consultation about this particular thing, but we have been saying to the government that, we want to do more, but fund us appropriately and pay us essentially what we deserve for the work that we do. A lot of pharmacists, Nigel, are working out of pocket. So the drug bill is going up, the medicine costs are going up, and a lot of them are dispensing medicines at a loss. No one should do that, but they do that because, again, we cannot add our costs onto the patients and the consumers. So whilst other businesses can do that, we don't do that. And so they take it on themselves.
In short, Leyla Hannbeck, will this plan work?
Well, it depends on the government if they're willing to make it work, and on the officials that work with us. So we are entering negotiations with them to see how this is going to pan out. We have always been willing. We kept our doors open throughout the pandemic, and we never shut our doors. And we've always been there. We've always been there for the public. And so it depends on them if they want to make it work.
No. You did great work during the pandemic, unlike many GP surgeries who all they would offer was Zoom consultations. I don't expect you to comment on that, but I want this to work.
No comment.
No, I want this to work. It makes so much sense.